Hello team, and oh my god, put your phone on silent.
Oh my god.
Everybody, let's just give it a minute while somebody gets ready for a professional
I feel like
recording.
you're going to leave this in there.
I might leave it in there. We'll see how we go. Could be a great start to week number 4 of the
Next
podcast.
Next week.
Welcome to week number 4 of the EZNZ podcast. I know we released it on a Wednesday, but it is a Monday morning, hence the coffee, the caffeination.
Yeah, and Hannah kind of tricked me just then. As you can see, I pulled a very awkward face.
What are you talking about? What are you doing?
I didn't actually expect the intro to start after we clapped our claps, so I'm sorry for any facial expressions you guys said from me just then. It was a little bit awkward. I'll just move past it and disappear into my shell for this.
Great.
This intro.
Sometimes this podcast is a delightful one-take wonder. Sometimes we do many takes because we just can't stop laughing. So I think, I'm fresh back from holiday. I'm really kind of getting back into actually living a routine lifestyle and getting back into work. So it's been interesting.
Yeah. It's been good. Hannah brought back treats. I wish we could share them with you.
We've been snacking on some caramel M&Ms, but Fletch ate them all, so there's none left.
Hannah didn't tell me she got 2 packs, so she actually ate a whole pack as well.
I did. I kept one at home for myself. All right. What are we talking about this week, Fletch?
Oh, so many great things this week.
So many great things.
Yeah, we're gonna, we promised you that we'd talk about accessibility. And we told some awesome stories in our week 2 podcast. So we are definitely gonna, round it back to that accessibility side of things now. Hannah's back.
Absolutely.
We've got some great Windows mixed reality experiences that we are planning on showing you guys. Yeah. So it's a new experience on the podcast, so we asked you to forgive us if it doesn't work out as we hoped. But we will do our best to give that mixed reality
I'm really
experience
excited. I'm sure a lot of you guys did attend our mixed reality trainings around the country when we did them at the end of last year. But mixed reality is very much my baby. Like, I love mixed reality. I think that it's one of those things that's only going to go from strength to strength as we move along. But yeah, I'm so excited to show it off to you guys, show off some of the experiences that are available and talk about why and how and what. When it comes to what mixed reality is and why we use it.
I nearly just dived into a mixed reality conversation there. We're very excitable people, but it's like, I'll save it. We were testing it out just before sitting down to record this podcast.
And there is something new available through RDX.
Just talk about non-stop to people because it's so amazing.
Yeah, it's like it's called Skyworld.
Skyworld,
and it's I described it to Fletch as a medieval Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's so much more.
And he was in.
It's so much more than that. What a hook line to get someone to try it out, but it's so much more. I've got to stop myself. We're
railroading our own podcast. We're just jumping in the deep end for what we're going to talk about later on. So let's bring it back around.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back around, and as usual, we will be starting with the question of the week, which I really like. And the more that I've kind of thought about this, the more I've thought of how much I use Microsoft Office. So this week's question of the week, which as always we're extending to you guys in the comments below as well. Let us know, how do you use Microsoft Office outside of work?
That's a really, really good question. I actually want to let Hannah go first on this one because I'm still thinking about it. Like, I do really tend to delve into these questions of the week, and I'm just deciding on my 2 stories. So I want to chuck Hannah in.
Excellent.
I'll pick one so I don't talk forever. I do have a tendency of doing that. So. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I like about this question is obviously sometimes when selling Office, people use it for school or they use it for work, but they don't use it in their personal lives. They don't necessarily see the value and why they would buy it and why they would use it outside of typing up an assignment or an email for work or something like that. The more I kind of thought about this, the more I have used Office in my day-to-day. Obviously, number one shout out with Office 365 Home is using OneDrive.
Yeah. So
we heard Fletcher's story the other week about his photos in Vietnam. And I've been exactly the same. So I have just been on holiday, and my lovely mum Raywin, every day I will upload all of my photos to OneDrive, and I'll do like I did Vancouver day 1 through to day 6.
Yeah.
And I'd share that folder with my mum so she could see what I've been up to and what I was doing.
Which is really cool, and it's something that I actually want to personally take more advantage of, because you guys all know that I upload my photos to OneDrive, and that's where they're all backed up. But I don't have them very organised at this point. OneDrive does it for me though, and I just need to make use of it. It's doing it for me.
Yeah, totally. It does automatically create albums, but when you take like 10 different selfies to get the perfect one, I didn't want to quite share that with everybody. But in case I didn't like one of those selfies, they are now all there, available for me to upload to my good old Instagram later on if I feel the need. But yeah, so I'm like, as you guys have probably realised through this podcast, I'm super close with my mum, so we always keep in touch. Sometimes I talk to her more when I'm overseas than when I'm actually at home, but generally I do talk to my mum at least once a week. But yeah, so while I'm travelling, I do really like to show her exactly what I've been up to and all of the places and all of the awesome stuff. So this weekend I'm actually visiting home. Well, not really home, but where my parents live now, down in the sunny Hawke's Bay. Fingers crossed it is actually sunny. But my brother's up from Christchurch, my mum, my stepdad are there, and my great uncle Bill as well. So great uncle Bill is 88 years old, and he is a champion. So because I went to Canada, I brought back some maple syrup. I'm going to make the family pancakes, and tell them about my trip over the pancakes.
We should do pancakes one morning for work.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah, just like take this maple syrup down to my family and be like, here's a gift, but I've got to take it back to work so we can have pancakes at work as well. But instead of just clicking through my photos, what I'm going to do to kind of really round out my trip, and I know that this might sound like I'm incredibly self-absorbed, but and when we talk about mixed reality, I think as well, bringing context through photos and experiences is super important.
Yeah.
So on my last day in Vancouver, I went to the Vancouver Lookout, which is essentially their sky tower. And so what was awesome, and I was thinking about this like while I was going around taking photos, is I had a 360 view of the city, and I could point out where I'd been each day and what I'd done. So what I'm going to do for my family breakfast on Sunday, I've got everybody around to tell them about my trip and to bring context to where I went, what I did, what's east, west, I don't really know directions actually, but like where things are, how far I walked a lot over there. What I'm going to do is from that 360 view, I'm then going to morph to like, this is the direction facing this way, morph city from, do you know what I mean? So this is the very top of Candy Street, and then I'm going to morph into the view that I had from there of the city from Queen Elizabeth Park. And then I'll move around a little bit, and you can see Stanley Park off in the distance, and then I can zoom into that and show. Comes from? Yeah. Wow. So the hockey stand. This is probably not.
So I'm railroading.
But Lord Stanley is somebody famous in Canadian history. I don't know enough about it. I'm not going to pretend. Yeah. But is anybody railroading once again? Is anybody out there NHL fans?
Yeah.
Of course, we are in the playoffs for the Stanley Cup. I made sure that I was back at my hotel each day, and I just got fully involved. There were some fantastic games. Ice hockey is a really fast-paced and awesome sport. If you've never watched it, highly recommend you check it out. But yeah, so that's kind of two different ways that I'm going to bring my trip to life for my loved ones and share it with them in a different kind of way. Because it's not a place that anyone in my family's been before. I've been lucky enough to go there quite a few times now, and it's hands down my favourite city in the world. So being able, to share that with my family and give them my experience and kind of a full context of where things are in the city, I'm really excited to do. It's not something I've done before. Set my family down for breakfast and give them a PowerPoint presentation. But I think that's like just a weird and interesting use, and I was literally being like, oh, this is going to be great. And like when I got that 360 view of the city, and to really tell my family about my experience and all of the kind of cool stuff I did while I was there.
See, when I first heard, because we talked about this a little bit before sitting down to record, and when I first heard Hannah actually say, hey, I'm going to show off my trip in PowerPoint, I'm like, really? Like, are you really going to do that? But I stopped and I've thought about it, and every time I go away for a holiday, I come back and I'll show my grandparents and I'll show my parents where I've gone, and I'll go through all my photos anyway, right?
Yeah.
And I'll go through the 1,400 photos I've taken.
Yeah,
and they're not organised or anything.
And I think
that's just cool. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going to
Thank you.
talk over you. I think I might steal this idea for next time I go away, and like, I'm all of a sudden seeing all this use and these great ideas for it. So it's a good idea.
And like I think. You know, when you go away, or when you've seen someone who you haven't seen for ages, and they kind of say, "Oh, what did you do on holiday?" or "I haven't seen you in 2 years. What have you been doing?" And you go, "What have I been doing? I don't know. I'm not sure." You know, so instead of I'm creating a constructed way to tell my family about what I actually did, so they can so they can see how my trip was and what an amazing, fantastic time I did have while I was over there.
I think.
And I know we've narrowed it down to only one story, but I will just swoop in with a quick second story. So obviously that covers OneDrive, that covers PowerPoint, that covers some of the awesome features in there. I can even use Ink Replay, write little notes. I'm so excited to put it together, and I'm so excited to share it with my family. But another one that I use all of the time, I'm going to actually say two, all of the time. I'm railroading
That's
myself.
all good, no.
I use Office apps a lot on my iPhone.
You're going to steal Office links, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I won't steal that from you, I promise.
Cool.
Yes, I use it on my phone. I know you guys give me so much for it when you see me whip it out when I'm out in store visiting people. But, you know, I use an iPhone, okay, great. But Office on iOS and on Android, which you use, Fletch, is friggin' fantastic. So I use OneNote for everything all the time, and I can literally make checked to-do lists. So I do that all the time. You know, we're quite busy at the moment, we've got a lot of different things coming up, so instead of stressing, I can have a shared to-do list with Fletch when we've got stuff coming up. I can have personal ones, like we've recently, obviously my whole family's together over the weekend, and we're deciding what we're going to have for dinner. Roast dinner on Saturday, thanks Raywin. Is it going to be chicken or lamb? What are we having for dessert? We've set up a family OneNote for who's bringing what and what we're going to do.
That's great.
So just all of those, like, I know it sounds weird and a little bit cheesy, but it's super helpful just for literally putting everybody on the same page and being able to use those things. And another shout out, just quickly, I'm so sorry.
That's okay, that's okay.
The Outlook app on iOS.
Great shout.
Is fantastic. So it automatically links my calendar to the native Apple calendar as well.
This is the same on Android, just so everyone knows.
Yeah. I'm an iShip, so I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so it automatically syncs everything, which is awesome. And my personal favourite is you can save your contacts as Outlook contacts.
Yeah.
Which is something that I really love, because over the years I had a Windows phone, then I had an Android phone, and now I'm on an iPhone. It is quite hard, you know, they're all kind of within their ecosystem. But with the Outlook app, if you save people as Outlook contacts, download the Outlook app, log in, no matter what platform you're on, they automatically download and are saved to your contacts as well.
That's a great shout.
So that's another personal favourite.
Outlook is kind of life when it comes
Outlook
to...
is life.
Yeah.
Outlook is so much life.
As much as OneNote is life for planning things, Outlook is pretty much on that same level,
Office
because it's got the calendar. And that calendar is so important for meetings. Particularly, I know we're saying outside of work, but particularly for work for me. Like, I always check Outlook before I commit to anything.
Well, same. And even to the point where when I'm really busy, I do schedule my personal life in there as well. Like, the Air New Zealand app is amazing. Once again, going so off topic, I'm very sorry. But the Air New Zealand app is amazing because it's got add this flight to your calendar, and that will sync it with Outlook.
Yes. That is a great feature.
So I am super busy at the moment. I've just got back from Vancouver, going down to Christchurch to see my brother. We're going to see the Killers. It's going to be awesome. Spend some time with him, and then in the weekend we're all getting together in the Hawke's Bay, so I'm flying there as well. So just having all of that in my calendar just makes it so much easier to visualise where on earth I'm going to be, what I'm doing, and all of that kind of stuff as well. So great. And that syncs across my devices, whether I send an invite from my iPhone or my Surface. It's such a seamless experience. I'll get reminders on either or. It's just magical. So magical.
That's cool. That's cool. I guess it's my turn now.
I'm sorry, man. I was just like, I got so inspired by a question that I came up with, and off we went.
As you probably are telling from these podcasts, we can very easily do that and just dig us a rabbit hole.
Off topic, but on topic.
Yeah, it's
We're
very
trying,
true.
yeah.
I've got one. I know, see, I'm breaking the rules a little bit here too. Because I know it says outside of work, and this is technically it's technically involved in some work. So
it's really hard when you love your job so much to differentiate your job from your life.
Yeah. I could talk about how obviously Office makes what I do as a master trainer easier all day long.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I want to talk about PowerPoint as well, funnily enough. So some of you guys might know because I've seen you guys there, but I every now and then will actually set up a stall at the Auckland night markets.
Yeah.
And we'll sell all sorts of stuff, and pretty much we design like personal phone cases and stuff like that. So we'll do it on the spot at the night markets. And I use PowerPoint a lot when it comes to posting on Facebook to let everyone know that we're going to be there. The key feature is actually just design.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. Like, I don't have the time to go in and, get Adobe Creative Suite or the money to always be subscribing to that on a monthly basis.
And at the end of the day, while you are doing design type things, you're not a professional.
I'm not a professional
No
designer.
offence,
yeah,
but...
ouch. She's saying I'm not quite good enough.
You put together some really snazzy things.
No, that's I'm milking it there. But yeah, so I don't really have that investment, and I wouldn't make enough use of it to justify that investment non-stop, because I use another program when I'm actually designing the cases.
Yeah.
But Designer in PowerPoint lets me still make really, really cool posters, Facebook post stuff that I can then go and take to the night markets or use.
Yeah.
So I'll chuck in a photo, or I'll chuck in our logo as a PNG file, and I'll chuck in a few photos. Boom, Designer comes up, and it looks really good, and I've just totally cheated.
Bam, done.
Just bam, done. Exactly.
Yeah.
I tried. It wasn't until even just a few months ago that I really started using this and seeing the value of how professional Designer actually will. Make that content. So
Absolutely.
I was doing a Facebook post, and I was trying to use another bit of software, and I was just like, this is not working. It's not doing what I want. And then I was like, why am I doing this? Let's use PowerPoint.
I have other tools readily available to me.
I have other tools readily available, and I kid you not, 5 minutes is all it took. Done. The message was across. Everything I needed was there. Even down to PowerPoint being a sneaky photo editor, using that to remove backgrounds and change kind of I don't know what you could almost distorts the picture. See, this is why I'm not a designer, right? But like being able to change the dimensions of photos is really important. So that's my story.
And I'm glad that you brought that up as well, because I was totally going to interrupt you if you didn't. But there are some incredible features thanks to the updates in Office 365 that come into PowerPoint, like Fletch mentioned. Fletch mentioned the remove background feature.
So good, guys.
So, if you can't happen to find the image you want as a PNG, or if you want to remove the background from a photo, you can do that. And obviously with ink and touch, being able to get that down really fine, with your pen and stuff, it's super quick, it's super easy to use. There's a screen record feature within PowerPoint as well. There's so much stuff. And when it comes to doing, I'm just talking. But when it comes to doing design type stuff,
It's really good.
It's really good. All of our Welcome to the Family, when one of the family posts that we've had on our Facebook page, made through PowerPoint. And it's really great. And obviously we create PowerPoint decks for a living, basically. But it's so helpful when you're designing, and it comes up with ruler grids. When you're moving stuff around. So if we've got 3 different sections or whatever, it will come up with lines to make sure that we're all in check and we're all even and stuff. So it's such a fantastic tool in so many different ways.
It really is. And now that we've said it, you'll probably notice all the time that we're using PowerPoint remove background feature. So if you spot it, shout it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So as always, we would love to extend that over to you guys. And see what you guys use Microsoft Office for in your day-to-day lives outside of work as well.
Cool.
Let's go on to the next segment.
Cool guys, so as we were talking about earlier, we wanted to, revisit back to accessibility as we promised in week two's podcast. We talked a little bit about Steve Gleason and Project Emma back then, which are two amazing stories, but we have another video that we want to show you quickly, which really helps to demonstrate the power of accessibility in OneNote and even Office Lens. So the power of using those. And then we just want to have a little bit of a talk in general. So let's check out the video and we'll be back with you shortly.
My daughter recently had a very serious medical condition. This was a very scary time. Gabby had a seizure, which she's never had before, and within 15 minutes, we found ourselves at the hospital. We had lots of information coming at us from many different directions. As a blind person, I needed to have access to information only available to me in print. We had my wife at the hospital with my daughter. I was traveling back and forth on a daily basis. Both of us needed to be able to access all of the information at all times from different devices. Fortunately, in my case, I use Office 365 both personally and professionally. I was able to quickly use my phone's camera to scan information available in print.
Ready. Double tap to capture. Capture.
So if a doctor handed me printed articles, I was immediately able, using Office Lens, to add that information to my ever-growing OneNote notebook. I was able to focus on my daughter. I was able to make sure I had all the information I needed. Good news is Gabby's doing very well. She's thriving. She's back in high school. I couldn't be happier about what OneNote has enabled me to be able to accomplish. And I think that by making it accessible and by making it usable by all, what Microsoft has done is opened up limitless possibilities to people.
It got dark, Hannah.
It got dark. You may notice that we did in the course of that video plunge into darkness, but that is just so you guys can see what is hopefully you can see what is on the screen behind us.
Yeah.
But how can we not mention what an amazing video that was?
It was a great video. I think to me it was a really powerful video, and it was the one that actually really got me deep diving into different features of accessibility. It started me even more on my journey than Steve Gleason's video and even Project Emma, right? Because those do require additional technology.
Yeah, and I think seeing this stuff in action really makes it hit home how incredibly useful it is. Like, imagine being blind and being a parent and having a kid in hospital, and I'm baffled by the fact that a hospital would hand a blind man something, a printed piece of paper with the information, and he's like, how insulting.
Yeah.
Like, in this day and age, that shouldn't happen.
You would think that
You would
something,
think,
right? Yeah.
But it's amazing, and just watching him using these things, like, he's clearly had a bit of practice and he's clearly got used to it, but he's so quick, like the way he navigates around, I think is amazing.
It's really cool, and like you might have noticed that he was using Mac products in that.
Yeah.
So he was using a MacBook, an iPad, and an iPhone, but he was within that he was Office.
Yeah.
So Office to use OneNote, Office Lens to take captures of documents and whiteboards, which he could then copy into OneNote, and OneNote would convert the photo
back into text,
so it could read aloud. That's really cool, and it does. I didn't even intend it when we were planning out this meeting, but it links back to what we were talking about before, which is using
those Office apps across platforms. Yeah.
And so we are definitely going to talk about Immersive Reader and OneNote at some point, but I wanted to choose that video to show you guys so that we could actually talk about. Take it almost back a step and talk about Narrator, which is a feature built straight into the Windows operating system.
It's something we all know exists. I'm sure I know I've done it before. I've accidentally turned Narrator on somehow, and I'm like, oh my god, like, it's saying things to me. I don't know what it's doing.
Yeah.
How do I get it to turn off? But think about how useful that actually is. And like, I don't want this to sound insensitive at all, but like, close your eyes and try and use a computer.
Yeah.
It's not straightforward. So having something like this that's free software, Office Lens is a free piece of software. It's a free app to download across platforms. But having this built in natively to Windows for free, really does go with Microsoft's mission statement to empower every person and organisation on the planet to achieve more.
So yeah, and I actually want to say I actually recommend you close your eyes if you really want to deep dive and find out how good Narrator is, because it's common sense when you think about it, but most people I don't think realise is when someone who's blind or has severe sight issues is using a computer, they don't have a monitor, so they purely rely on this. They'll have a keyboard and they'll have a mouse, they might have a tower, whatever, but they rely on Narrator to tell them where they are on the screen, what they're clicking on, read everything aloud to them, and get them going. So I've pulled these settings up, and that's why we've dimmed down the room so it's a bit easier to see. But Narrator is a very, very powerful tool. You get there through a keyboard shortcut. That shortcut is Windows Control and Enter. Because again, if it's not on, how is someone going to be able to turn it on using a mouse? So
and super cool as well. In the settings, you can change it to turn on when your device boots up.
Yeah.
So that's something that either you can use the shortcut if you're using somebody else's device, but if it was your own personal device, you can get this bad boy from the get-go when you log in.
It's accessible from the login before, while you're logging in. So it's something that is accessible from as soon as your computer starts up. It's accessible from any computers in store, even if they're not past that login stage yet. It's really
and you guys
important.
would have noticed as well, the out-of-box experience from Windows has changed. So now when you turn on a device for the very first time, you're greeted by Cortana, and you can talk through the setup process.
Yeah, exactly. It's very cool, and so it's layered throughout the whole Windows experience. And there's lots of really, really, good thinking that's gone into this. So when you're using Narrator, if you are fully blind, you want it to tell you everything, right? So if you go into the general part of the Narrator settings, you can see that it'll tell you what words you're typing. It'll actually, as you type on your keyboard, say you've typed G, H, K. Well,
what word are you trying to spell?
Don't trust my spelling. But it'll actually, it'll even if you pause, tell you what word you've typed, which is really cool. It'll read aloud anything you click on. It's so hard. It's so in depth to try sum this up. That's why we've got the settings to try help. So it'll read those words out to you. One thing that I thought was super cool is that it'll actually even let you change the voice. So people might have trouble hearing as well. Then there's lots of different ways that you can have trouble hearing. You might struggle to hear high pitches. You might struggle to hear low pitches. As you're getting older, Hannah shared a great piece of knowledge with me.
As you do get older, especially your higher pitched hearing does lessen over time. Like that's just a natural thing that happens. Being in loud environments here, that high pitched hearing is the first thing to go. So something at a lower pitch. Myself, for example, interestingly, my pitch of voice is incredibly hard to hear in a busy environment, which is so frustrating. But if I'm in out clubbing or something, that doesn't happen often. But if I'm out having a rager, it's very hard to hear me in a busy environment like that. So sometimes I wish that I could have these kinds of settings to be able to manipulate that voice to best hear for people in different situations.
So I'm gonna actually unmute Narrator for a few seconds. I've got it switched on but muted so that we can hear
some examples of what it's
here's some examples. So I'm gonna press volume up very slowly.
Volume up. Volume up. Volume up. Volume up. Volume up. Volume up.
So you can tell what I'm pressing on the keyboard. It's telling me what I'm pressing, so I'm not accidentally muting it when I wanna be able to hear it.
Exactly, and I mean, I mentioned before, when you accidentally turn Narrator on and then you kind of panic because you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening. And maybe you would think, oh my gosh, that seems so annoying. But imagine if you couldn't see and you were hitting things on a keyboard, you were trying to turn the volume up, but really you were turning it down, or you were muting it, or you were pressing the brightness key instead. How frustrating would that be? So telling you that you're in the right place doing the right thing
is super important. And so like even changing the pitch of the voice, it'll tell me everything I'm doing. So let's have a listen.
60, 70, 85, not 100. Volume up, volume up.
So I can hear the pitch increase. I can hear what percentage of the slider I'm moving on, and it's changing as I'm going. So I can do that backwards as well.
0, 15, 20, 55, 50.
So it's really good. I can change who we've got speaking
Select
as well.
a different voice for narrator.
Look,
Microsoft David.
that's
English. United States. 1 of 5. Selected.
see that's cool, right? It's told me there's 5 options. It's told me what I've clicked on. It's told me what voice that is currently selected. Really, really cool, useful stuff. So I just find that awesome. I can even click.
Select a different voice for narrator. Microsoft David. English. United States. Editable combo box. Alt plus V. Collabs.
See,
Telling
that's
us everything.
cool.
So it's letting
It's
us know
telling
that
us-
we've closed that drop down box, but that is where we've selected. So you may or may not be able to see, but there is a little blue square around the area that it is reading. So if you can't see, you do know where exactly on the page it is.
Yeah.
And these things are designed, for kind of best user case. And for example, if you did have sight issues, there are contrast settings within Windows.
Yeah.
So that different contrast, you may be able to see things better than you could at kind of standard out of the box settings.
And even little things like it'll tell you the whole URL you've typed in and everything like that. I purposely don't want to demo that because URLs are long.
Yeah.
But it's not just something that works with a mouse. Like we're in a touch age, right? Things are moving along to the touch. You've got the option whether you want to use a mouse or touch. And touch will work exactly the same. So you can draw a box and it'll tell you what content you've got over.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like whether it's drawing a box around text, whatever, it'll read everything out to you, tell you where you're selecting. Just such a powerful tool. I won't show too much because I do highly recommend that you just try this out, really with the understanding of how in depth it's going to explaining things. Definitely try closing your eyes and navigating around a page. It's hard to get used to for someone who has full sight. But it's so easy to understand why it's so important when you're trying it from that point of view of an experience.
So as we mentioned at the start of the podcast, I'm super excited for this segment because, as I said, mixed reality is very much my baby. It's one of my favourite new things that's come out from Microsoft, probably in my whole career. So as you guys know, I've been with Microsoft for 4 and a bit years now. And I've seen so many cool things, but I think like the biggest next step forward in technology that I've really seen and got to experience is Windows mixed reality.
It's super cool, right? And like I remember, seeing this at expos, or not this, but something similar. People putting on headsets like whatever the Oculus Rift or whatever they chose to actually demonstrate. But now that it is just so much more accessible, you guys, a lot of you will have it actually in store. You'll have displays in store. It's super exciting to me. Like, what an excitement!
Absolutely, and it's gone from being one of those like sci-fi things in the movies to now like the future is now, guys. And that excites me to my core. Every time I get to talk about this, I hope you can tell how excited I am. But what's so awesome about this is it really is an experience. There's so many different kinds of content, and the way I describe it is passive and active. So there's things like Super Hot, which I'm going to play for you guys soon, and there's things like Skywheel, which is Fletcher's new favourite, that's probably a little bit more
super
passive.
Exciting.
So I think what's so cool about mixed reality is that there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
So we're going to show you our favourite bits of content on there today, and if you like what you see, let us know, and we'll show you some more in other podcasts as well. But let's get
play.
into it.
Let's play. Let's do it.
We get to talk about it all the time, but actually using it and having some fun. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Hey guys, so as you can imagine, this is incredibly weird. As you can see from the service hub behind me, I am currently in the Cliff House within Windows Mixed Reality. So it's quite a strange experience, like talking to you guys out there in the camera when I'm so immersed in this area. So welcome for those of you, if you haven't seen what Windows Mixed Reality is before. I'm just going to give you guys a quick tour of the Cliff House. So it's very much designed to be your home within Windows. So it's almost like your desktop within a virtual environment. So I can move by using the trigger here on, and you can see those blue paths coming up. So I can teleport, I can move, as you can hopefully see as I look up and around. It follows me as well, even if I duck down. I can just imagine how great I'm looking on video right now.
I'm an invisible Fletcher and I'm enjoying this thoroughly from the recording angle.
So you can see there's all kinds of things, and what's so good about this is there's many different kinds of experiences. So there's active ones, there's more passive ones where you can just enjoy swimming with dolphins, skiing, videos from GoPro, all of those kinds of things. I could even open up Facebook up on the wall here or something like that. And what's so great about this is I can customize things. I can move stuff around. I've got this delightful couch thing. I'm not going to put it in the middle of the room because that's just not good design. Can't put it on the stairs either, but I'm going to put it out on the patio and I'm going to go over there and see, like, if you guys can hear, as I've gone further outside, the sound changes with me, which is awesome. So there's heaps of awesome content. There's Holo Tour, which is a guided tour on RDX. It's through Machu Picchu, which is awesome and amazing. And, you know, we'll talk a little bit about some of the kind of user cases, I guess, of these things a little bit later on. But, you know, there's Free the Night, Luna, some awesome videos there. But I want to show you guys one of my personal favourite games. I'm not much of a gamer myself, as we've heard. I'm a bit of a rage quitter. But what I love about mixed reality is that the controls feel supernatural because I'm in the game and I can actually experience it. So I'm going to take you guys down into the theatre and we're going to go into Super Hot. Has anybody else played this before? I would love to hear in the comments below. I'm just once again thinking about how weird this is as I'm talking on this. I'm talking to you guys, but I'm very much in my own mixed reality world here. But I would love to hear in the comments if you guys have had a mixed reality experience and what you played and what you loved about it as well. We're just loading up into Super Hot. As you can see around me, my hands have changed based on the game I'm in, which is awesome, but there are these lines. So that's the boundary we've set up to keep me safe so I don't go crashing into anything. Boom! Let's go. I'm not going to play this for too long, but I just want to give you guys a little bit of an idea of the cool stuff we can do within mixed reality. As I said, what I love about this is on the controls, in order to punch, this game moves as I move, by the way, so I've got a bit of time to talk while I'm slowing down. But in order to punch, I grab this button under the bottom here, which is very much like an actual physical closed fist.
I'm gonna
So there we go.
do a health and safety stop because that's another important.
Am I going to punch the camera?
You're not gonna punch the camera. You're gonna punch the light. So do you want to
Okay.
take a step back and
Excellent.
then to your right?
To my right, this
Yeah,
way? Excellent.
yeah.
Just getting a little bit too into it. So it is very important, of course, if you are demoing this in store, to keep a good eye on your customer and to be there to keep them feel safe. But as you might be able to see, there are some lines up around me. So these things on the front here are sensors, so I can set it up to keep me safe. So, you know, I'm feeling confident playing by myself within this area.
Don't punch behind you.
Don't punch behind me.
A very expensive
A
surface hub
very
will break.
expensive surface hub. All right, so it's telling me to move my body. This guy's going to try and shoot me. Wow. If you've ever seen The Matrix, like, this is real life, guys. Very, very cool. I look a little bit silly playing this, but I feel awesome. Ninja Stars, this is my least favourite level because look at that aim, Hannah, my god. No! What? No! I hope you guys are invested. Oh my, okay, if anybody can teach me how to throw better, please come forward. So, you know, if I'm playing around and everything all gets a little bit too much for me, I'm very invested in this, very invested. But in order to get out of what I'm in, you just hit the Windows key here before I get shot, and it takes you back into your cliff house, so back into your home. So really nice and easy, you know, being able to navigate around. I can walk, I don't want to walk into anything, I can see from my boundary, I'm getting close to something. But just that awesome, immersive experience straight away. If you guys would like us to go through some more content on other podcasts, absolutely. Obviously, this is a lot of fun, so I'm never going to complain about mixed reality. But hopefully there is a light in this room that you guys may be able to see that may not be so Fletcher hype friendly. But let's get Fletch set up and check out one of his favourite games.
Awesome, guys. So now it gets to be my turn, and I love Super Hot a lot, just like Hannah. She's a beast at it. We absolutely enjoy playing it. But my personal favourite is something that's relatively new to Windows Mixed Reality, and that is the so-called Yu-Gi-Oh! Of Mixed Reality Skyworld. So I'm going to go into Skyworld now. It's a really, really awesome game. It is a little bit like Yu-Gi-Oh! You'll see soon that I'll get a hand of cards, and as always with Mixed Reality, the controllers on the screen will customize to fit the theme. So as you see on the screen, you might be able to tell why we say it's almost like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Windows Mixed Reality. I've got a handful of cards which I can flip through with my right hand. But the difference is, and what's really awesome to me, is you can see sprawled out in front of me is a really, really cool map. So I'm defending my castle, but I want to beat this guy over there, the red dude with horns on his head, his castle. And I'll use my cards to do it. So it gets really, really interactive. These cards will constantly refresh for me, but I might select something, I can put it on the field. You can see that there's a green line going from my hand to where they'll be placed, so I'll chuck those down. And eventually we'll see some of the other guys' troops coming out. One of the coolest things to me though is it's not just about deploying guys. I can actually choose the right card, which is this one here. I'll wait for it to go blue, and I can shoot a fireball out. So I'm directly interacting with this awesome battlefield in front of me. You can see I just wiped out a unit there. Honestly, I just want to keep playing this game. It's so awesome. I think my new favorite game on Windows Mixed Reality, which I would play non-stop. To me, it's a good enough reason to buy it on its own. And it's so interactive. Like I'm a bit of a geek. I'm a bit of a nerd. I love playing Warhammer and what's called tabletop games. So as soon as I saw this, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like my childhood dreams come true. It's like a tabletop game where I'm interacting and seeing figures move rather than just being static and moving them around with my hands in real life. So super, super awesome experience. It kind of shows how Windows Mixed Reality tailors to all sorts of different customers and people, whether it's interactive games like this or GoPro videos, which we can show you in another episode, like Hannah said, if you are interested. So just let us know. I'm about to get wiped out because I'm not playing very well, but hopefully you enjoyed our Windows Mixed Reality tour.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know I say this every time, but damn, that was fun. Mixed reality, as I said, is just my favourite thing, and as weird as it was, like having it on and talking to you guys, I had fun. I had fun as always.
Makes me not want to work all afternoon, because that was the first time I've actually been trying out my new favourite thing today. So I want to do that all afternoon now.
There we go for the rest of the day. Thanks so much for joining us on this podcast. As always, we extend the question of the week to you guys as well, which was...
how do you use Office outside of work?
Yeah, we'd love to know. As always, we love your comments, we love your feedback. And if you want to see more from Mixed Reality in the next coming podcast, if there's content you've heard about that you would like us to give a hint, let us know, and we're always keen.
Please give us an excuse to use Windows Mixed Reality more.
As always, if you guys have any questions, let us know, and we aim to get back to them in the next podcast. But we will see you again next week.